Dave East, Harlem native, and one of the most hated. If you spend any time on social media, I swear Dave East has some of the most consistent haters. But despite these narratives that exist, few can deny his ability to rap really well. Now, Dave East has been on his grind in 2022, whether it was through his acting role starring as Method Man in the Wu-Tang Hulu series, or the 2 albums that he released. In March, he dropped the Mike and Keys project, How Did I Get Here, which I consider to be a dope and slept on conceptual release for 2022. And now for this new project, The Book of David, he has enlisted the help of the iconic DJ Drama for a Gangsta Grillz mixtape. Drama himself has been on a pretty impressive run of his own this past year. Also, this project finds Dave East reuniting with the production duo Buda and Grandz, who do all the instrumentals. Another thing to point out before I jump in is that Dave East went at it alone with no features for 17 tracks, just like we saw Nas do on KD3. And being feature free these days can be a risky proposition, but Dave managed to rise to the occasion here. At 17 songs, this thing lasts approximately 51 minutes. But with that being said, let me go ahead and just hit y'all with this track by track breakdown. The opener, Pray, sets a spiritual tone right out the gate with a woman's prayer and some dramatic boom bap production. Dave East's pen game is cathartic here. He's essentially pouring it all out, giving you his confessional. He reflects back to when I never thought I'd see the day where I would play Tikal, because we was in the projects trying to scrape 100,000. Track 2, Chills, has soothing pianos and a soulful R&B hook from Cat Raquel, who's really the only feature. And this one finds East in his reflective mode once again, where he reminisces on being broke, being fucked up, and how he still gets the chills looking back. I did like his following line on the hook. I learned how to master them P's, dudes ain't bout it. The following, Trouble, is the standout early on the album. It's backed by a vintage gospel sample that I'm pretty sure most of us heard on Raekwon's The Purple Tape 2 on that track, Have Mercy, with Beanie Sigel. This killer bass line never gets old. In fact, there was really a heavy Wu-Tang influence detected on this record. It's basically a conceptual song about trouble. He has some rich imagery, like there's trouble upstairs with no foundation in the basement, trouble something like Machiavelli with Suge out in Vegas. Track 4, FaceTime with the Devil, is a lively, in-your-face soul banger with Dave East talking his shit. He's in boastful, get money mode here, and also mindful of the fact that he's toying with evil, as the title suggests. I think the following lines grab my attention the most. I wrote this at the stew. They shot Pac 5 times. Vintage Deion Sanders, Nike bitches, prime time. The subsequent song, Rules, has a dark, intense backdrop, a little reminiscent to the production that we got on that Black Rose mixtape. And here Dave East lays out 20 rules for surviving the streets. Biggie had his crack commandments. Dave East got rules though. You can really feel the urgency and the hunger in his bars here. Specifically, it's hard to stop a dude that's determined not to lose. And he manages to pay homage to his homie Nipsey with the lines, sick of dudes screaming marathon, they ain't run one lap. After this is the single, Gangsta, where we get an attractive soul trap beat. And on this one, Dave East speaks from the perspective of a gangster. It's jam-packed with quotables. Mockneck cardigan, properly hide the Mossberg, smoke is dancing in the rain, and got to ask you if you got served. I also really dug a line that references his Paranoid 2, put my daughter on my album cover when she go to school, got my child lit. Following this is God Body. The next snapping instrumental goes pretty hard, but it might contain some of his least impressive bars. It's not bad. It's just some of the rhymes don't stand out as much as the rest. But this beat does give it that head nodding quality though. After this is the highlight, Seen a Lot, which flips Lil Kim's Queen Bitch. It's a sample that you can't go wrong with, and Dave East does it some justice, and he did get busy over this classic 90s instrumental. The flow switch ups are pretty on point as well. The following lines are pretty vivid. Since David Dinkins ran the city, I've been David Beckham. My uncle scratching and sweating while I'm playing Tekken. So he's painting a picture of the old New York, the old Harlem, with his uncle fiending out while he was playing video games. Track 9, Prison Yard, is a standout as well. On the second verse, he gets in his storytelling bag. I like his bars about coming up hard, in the prison yard, and the warm cinematic strings and soul chops. It has this unmistakable New York feel. At the very end, we get this beautiful gospel transition with sirens and car horns in the backgrounds. It really seems to channel that Raekwon Cuba Link's energy. It most certainly feels like a Wu-Tang inspired skit. The tempo then switches up for the following Eyes Can See, which obviously samples Busta's classic Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See. And here he incorporates some of Busta's flow and cadence on the second verse. It is a cool track that shows Dave East having some fun, getting busy over this throwback beat. Track 11, Egyptian Kings, has an elegant instrumental with some cool imagery. The quotables didn't jump out as much as some of the rest, but once again, he's having some fun rapping over plush New York style production. Track 12, Aggravated, is backed by a captivating soul sample that is easily one of my favorites on this album. And here Dave addresses the haters that are sick that he's made it. And he also shows some love to the women out there who have to deal with the fake dudes making them aggravated. Immediately after is the disrespectful freestyle where East raps over Mace's Wanna Hurt Mace instrumental. Dave East is in his bag, sliding over this feel-good production. He raps, when I was a rebel, credit scams and EBT. Av named me Dave East. I woke up on BET, VVS, all I wanted, Blu-rays, no DVDs. After this is the 10 Toes interlude where Dave snaps over this next snap and loop. I dug his choppy, trap-like flow over this rugged loop. It's just straight head nodding shit. Then we get Call the Promoters, where he raps about his life as a performer, doing shows and dealing with them shady club promoters. I like the sound effects of the live show, and I really could have envisioned Method Man as a feature, and the dense drums and hypnotic bells made for a dope beat as well. The last track is Eternal, which serves as a dedication to his friend and the late rapper King Shooter from Queensbridge. It's introspective Dave East over a slower and melancholy beat that felt like it could have been from the Paranoid 2 era. I do like Dave East over this mellow and reflective production, and as a whole was a heartfelt tribute to his friend. Then the album wraps up with the frenetic banger Heavy, where Dave bodies his up-tempo gutter beat. He's rapping on this outro with the intensity that you would have on the intro, and he pays homage to his mentor Nas, the Godson, with I got out the project, shouts to Nas, fuck you gonna tell me. So overall, I give this project a rating of 4 mics. If you prefer mixtape Dave East, who is just rapping his ass off, then you should enjoy this project. Even though there was an underlying spiritual theme, it still plays out like a raw mixtape, and he was rapping like he had a point to prove, really reminding folks why he once was the talk in New York in the late 2010s. And what I think I dug the most was that he was rapping with the urgency and passion that we saw on projects like Straight Outta Harlem, Black Rose, and Hate Me Now. Perhaps him being in season 2 of the Wu series inspired him to lock in even more and come a little harder with the bars and the flows. Sure, the name dropping that you get on Dave East projects can be a little over the top, but the bars here were pretty tight as a whole, and it sounded like there were glimpses of his old voice back. Not fully, but I could detect some traces. I felt the production from Buda Grandz managed to fit his rapping style pretty well. They hit it out the park instrumentally if you like traditional New York hip hop with a slight modern twist. And of course, Drama's narration always manages to make it a high energy street experience. At the end of the day, I looked at this as hoodie and box cutter music straight off the streets of New York. My favorite tracks include Chills, Trouble, Gangsta, Seen a Lot, Prison Yard, Aggravated, 10 Toes, Call the Promoters, and Heavy. Let me know what you thought about this album in the comment section. It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. Dave East, DJ Drama, the Book of David, 1.